How's it going, you spicy young individuals? Welcome to a new episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Travis Lang, and today we're talking with a few track players about some of the successes this track team has seen in the past months. And so my first victim on the chair today is Justin Lowe.
Thanks for having me.
So Justin, you've been on the show before, but just as a quick reminder for those of you that don't know you, what do you run in terms of events?
For the indoor season, I am typically an 800, 400 runner. I also participate in the 4x4. When we transition into outdoor, we cut that 600 out because it doesn't exist anymore and just run the 400 and the 4x4.
And you mentioned you do both indoors and outdoors. What's the difference, really? I talked with a couple other track athletes about that, but in your opinion, what's the difference between indoor and outdoor track meets?
I think the biggest difference is the size of the track. And definitely obviously the environment. We're in a controlled climate in indoor season on smaller tracks, typically 200, sometimes a 300 meter track. When we transition to outdoor, we're always running, with the wind, with the elements, and on a much larger track being 400 meters.
And it seems like that controlled environment has helped you run some pretty amazing times. You actually had the fastest qualifying time at Spire on January 25th.
Yeah.
What goes into preparing for a track meet like this?
For a track meet like Spire, it's a lot of rest, a lot of mental relaxation, just getting your head in the right space. And then obviously the practicing before all of that, it's a lot of keeping with, a steady practice regimen, staying healthy, remembering that you have to take care of your body, and you can't just go out and practice every day and continue to beat yourself up. So.
And does the coach really have a factor in that too? Does he help move everything along?
Yes, I think our coach does a really good job of because I've had quite a few past injuries, and I think he does a really good job understanding when I say, hey, I need to have a day where I'm just more relaxed, slower pace, stuff like that. He does a good job of kind of throwing those days in. Usually we have a day in the middle of the week where it's just a rest day for us. So,
and with this sport that is track, it's more of an individual type of activity rather than a whole team sport. But you also do the 4x400 relay, and you've actually gotten to run a qualifying time in terms of nationals and with the conference. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between running with a team in a relay versus running by yourself in the 600?
Well, a lot of it is the fact that you have three other guys on your team that are right there with you, that are running that race with you, and it makes it a completely different environment. With a team behind you, it's like you have that encouragement. You got those people that are out there on that track with you that are supporting you just as much as you're supporting them. And in an individual event like like an open 600 or an open 400, it's just you, and you kind of shut everything else out, and it's just your race, and nothing else matters, and you don't even hear anybody talk to you when you're running and everything. But in the 4x4, you hear your teammates, you're looking for that support, and it really kind of like pumps you up. I always find that the 4x4 is such more fun than an open event, just because I have my teammates with me and I get to be on a team with them.
And it's funny too, there were a couple other teammates that we won't be able to interview today. That's Joe Brown and Seth Reynolds. What do you think their thoughts would be on this entire experience so far?
I've ran with Seth my entire time being here, so I think Seth being on a 4x4 team that has made it to nationals, I think that he's just overjoyed and really excited to be able to have the opportunity to run on a team at nationals. He's an amazing athlete, and to be able to run on a team, it kind of has the same feelings as me. It's just exciting, and I feel like Joe being a freshman, it's exciting to make it to nationals his first year here, and I'm extremely proud of him. I think the team is as well.
So give me a roadmap. After the meets we've had so far, there are a couple more coming up. What are those?
We have nationals in Brookings, South Dakota. That'll be not this weekend, but next weekend. Obviously, that's one of the biggest meets of the year for me. And definitely, you got those nerves going into it. And then after that, we have our first outdoor meet, so we're transitioning into outdoor season at Myrtle Beach, and that's another one of our big meets for the year is when we go down to Myrtle Beach. It's a very large meet, a lot of Division I schools, Division II schools out there, definitely some tough competition. So.
And finally, do you have any tips for any track athletes that are looking to make that transition from high school to college? Has there been anything that you've learned through your experience doing this?
I think the biggest thing that a lot of athletes don't realize when they transition from high school to college is how much more work you're going to be doing. We have summer workouts. When school gets back in session, we immediately start. We have an entire year where we never, an entire 4 years where you're never, ever resting. So, and to be able to have that and think that, your body's going to be able to adjust to that quickly is kind of a false sense of hope. Your body's not going to adjust to that. So you really have to take into a mindset of, I need to take care of myself. And I think that's the biggest thing that I would say as a tip is to take care of yourself. You got to recognize when your body says, hey, we need to slow down a little bit. We need to take a step back, let me heal. So.
Well, thank you so much, Justin, for coming on the show again. Hopefully you're not too bored of us.
No.
Coming up next, we'll have more interviews. Don't go anywhere.
The most rewarding thing for me as a spine surgeon here at Reed is being able to restore a patient's quality of life. For every patient, they may have different goals. For some patients, it would be returning back to hiking, enjoying a game of tennis again, or for some people, it's just cooking a meal. When I know that I can intervene and make an impact in their life, that is the most rewarding and gratifying part of my day.
Next in the hot seat, I have track athlete Will Mundi. Will, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks.
So you've been on the show before, and I got to talk with you a little bit. You're from Portland, Oregon. Talked about your trip coming from Portland to Indiana, and you've actually made an impact as a sophomore.
Yeah, I mean, it was a weird transition to go from Portland, Oregon to Richmond, Indiana, just because I've never been to Indiana in general. But I trusted my coach and what he had to offer, and I continue to trust that process, and so far it's so good.
And what events are you a part of?
This year, I'm doing the Open 400 and then the 4x4 relay.
And speaking of the Open 400, you actually ran a qualifying time at Indiana Wesleyan earlier in the season. Tell me what that was like.
That was the kind of first meet. I was kind of off a couple meets, so that was kind of like an opener for me. And it was interesting just because I didn't know what I was gonna hit, but I really wanted to qualify. And I just barely made it, but that process, I mean, I felt pretty good. I felt pretty strong, but with the 400, you really gotta have a strategy for it. You can't just run it because then you'll die too fast, or if you try to go too slow in the beginning, then you won't have enough for the end. So it's this really strategic race.
And speaking of strategic, I talked with Justin about the difference between indoor and outdoor, but I'm sure there are differences between the indoor facilities. What's the difference between, like, for instance, Indiana Wesleyan's facility versus that Spire meet that was earlier in the season?
Well, Indiana Wesleyan, it's kind of shaped like to me, it's kind of shaped like a circle, and usually tracks are kind of like more ovally, and I feel like when you do, 400 indoors, 2 laps. So when I did it, it felt a lot faster than a normal 400. Unfortunately, I didn't get to run at Spire, but the most recent race, when we went to Kent State, that felt a lot different just because it's 300 meters, and it felt like more just 1 lap. It felt more like an outdoor 400.
So would you say you prefer indoor or outdoor better?
I would say I like outdoor better, just because it feels quicker, and I just like the environment more.
And also, I mean, speaking of environment too, you have an entire team around you because you also run the 4x4 relay.
Right.
What is the difference to you between that relay compared to just the regular 400?
Well, like when I run the 400, just the open 400, I'm just kind of by myself. Like, I mean, I don't have to rely on anyone but myself, and I feel a little more pressure when I do the open 4. But I think that with the 4x4, it's like you can't just slack. You can't just be content with what you're running. You got to run for your team. You got to show out for your team, because if you don't run the time that you want to run, I mean, you're not just letting yourself down, but your team down. So.
And one of the most confusing things about track, at least when I was trying to figure out and learn it, is that it's not so much about beating another player as it is beating a qualifying time. Is that a struggle for you, at least in a little bit?
I feel like this year I've had a difficult time trying to hit the times I want to hit. I mean, in terms of the relay, I think we were kind of consistent with our times. But individually, I feel like that's been a struggle. But yeah, definitely, you want to really, when you run a race, it's more you're racing against the clock, not the people that are in the heat with you.
How do you train for something like that? Because I'm sure that high school is a little bit different than college when it comes to that. Are there any regimens or something like that to help you keep up with that time?
My biggest thing, I feel like what I do is the night before, a couple of days before, I just kind of get in that zone and kind of break down the races I'm running, and try to continue to repeat it and just walk through it in my head when I'm just doing random stuff. And when I get to the meet, I kind of look at the track and kind of picture what I'm about to do. And usually I do it, but sometimes I get a little too excited and I, mess up a little bit. But in general, I like to just picture what I'm doing.
With the upcoming nationals meets, not only in the Dakotas but also in Myrtle Beach coming up, what are some goals you have going into these meets?
My goals for sure for nationals, I want to run faster than I did last year. So that would be 48 seconds, 48 seconds. And definitely get top 8 in that 4x4, because we definitely have the talent. We can definitely do it. So I'm striving for that, and I'm sure all my 3 other teammates that are a part of that relay are. And then outdoors, just do better, run a faster time than I did outdoor last year. So each year, just run faster.
And finally, we mentioned a little bit about study tables that you have to do about 4 hours each week. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips for athletes that are trying to balance both the sport as well as the academic side of college?
Yeah, I mean, I only have 4, but there's other athletes that have, 6, 8, so it's like, it's definitely not impossible to do both study tables or do work and do, athletics. It's definitely possible. You just got to find the time to balance it out. Like, I mean, when you don't have a class, go to study tables, get some work done. When you're practicing, just, have a plan for after. Like, you just have to take the time to have a plan and schedule out your day.
Well, thank you so much, Will, for being on the show, and good luck with the upcoming meets, because I'm sure they might be just a little bit stressful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We still have more interviews. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Rick Duncan from the G1013 Morning Show, and I can't paint.
Hi, I'm Hoover from the G1013 Afternoon Show, and I can't sports.
I'm Scott Epic from Epic Workdays, and I can't cook. But you know what we are great at, besides our music, of course? We're great at supporting community events.
That's right, Rick. Whether it's collecting coats, food, or just showing support, we're all in for our community.
And we're proud to call Richmond home. G1013 is a proud supporter of IU East and the Whitewater Valley.
What if a home phone could also be a smartphone? And what if that home phone could save you money on your home and wireless bill at the same time? With Xfinity Voice, you get amazing technology like readable voicemail on your smartphone, caller ID on your TV, and even text messaging, all for a low price. Start saving with unlimited nationwide talk and text and switch to Xfinity Voice for just $19.99 a month for 12 months. Call 1-800-XFINITY today.
I'm almost done.
Now you can pay your bill, manage your appointments, and check your connection status. Anytime, anywhere.
Oh, so you're protesting? Okay.
Introducing Xfinity My Account, available on any device.
We'll transition from the men's team over to the women's side of things as I have Sheliece Watkins here with me.
Hi.
So Sheliece, this is your first time ever on the show, so just tell me a little bit about what you did in high school, what got you interested in IU East, and why you're doing track here.
In high school, I'm from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. In high school, I did 200, 400 hurdles, all the hurdle events. I did 300 hurdles, so in outdoor, I'm kind of nervous about 400 hurdles. What got me started with track, I started running track around like 5 years old, but I stopped. I started doing martial arts, and I came to high school, and I realized I wanted to do track again. My mom realized that you could get money in sports, so we realized that me and my siblings were really good at that, so we stuck on to that. And transitioning from high school to college was a struggle, because it's different. It's a different environment, different teammates, different people. You have to do things differently. You just have to adjust, and I'm adjusting pretty well. So
Yeah, I'd say so. You're a freshman, but you've already qualified for nationals on February 7th. What are some challenges about doing hurdles? Because I believe you're the first person I've actually gotten to interview that's a part of that event.
Well, when I first started, I always told myself, you're never going to do hurdles. But I started looking at it, and I was like, well, maybe you should try. So I tried. I started liking it. But it's a lot of challenges with hurdles because, like, it's running and jumping at the same time, and you're going through the hurdles, and it's like, I just be worried about not falling sometimes. Or sometimes it's like the adrenaline in my body, and I'm just like, oh, you got it, you got it. But sometimes it's like, okay, you just got to get out and get to that first hurdle. Because I used to be scared of the first hurdle, but my coach has been, helping me, and I'm kind of, getting over that fear.
And how do you train for something as scary, quote unquote, as hurdles?
It's just the same as any running event, except we just have different workouts. When we practice, sometimes we practice blocks. Some of the team will do just regular get-outs in the blocks, and we'll just do get-outs over 1 or 2 hurdles. Or sometimes we'll have a different warm-up. We'll go over hurdles instead of just doing, regular warm-ups in the gym or on the turf at the track. So it's kind of the same, except with hurdles.
And for all of those indoor meets, are the hurdles set up in a similar fashion? Is this like a rule, or does each facility have a different configuration, so to speak?
No, it's set up the same way, except indoors 60, outdoors 100. So it's more hurdles outdoor, which I'm happy about.
And why would you say that more hurdles are a good thing?
Because, for me specifically, I gain more speed as I go. So I really love 100 hurdles.
Do you think that martial arts has kind of helped you a little bit in a
Yes,
sense?
because in martial arts I did boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling and wrestling. So I'm already kind of, strong, I guess. So, it got me in shape. That's what I want to say. It got me in shape. So I'm already kind of used to, the lifting and stuff like that.
And not only do you have the physical capability, but you're also going to be kind of, I guess in a sense, setting a record. You're going to be the first woman to participate in a hurdles event like this for nationals for IU East.
Yes.
I mean, what's that like as a freshman?
Well, I didn't know until just now that I was the first, woman to do hurdles. So as a freshman, that's kind of, I'm kind of happy because, like, not a lot of freshmen in high school and college get to, have that experience because, like, you're adjusting and you have sophomore, juniors, and seniors that's really good. And sometimes you can't, like, get up there yet because, like, you're just a freshman, you're adjusting, and you can't really hit those times yet. But, it's kind of, sometimes it's overwhelming to know that you have, like, older teammates that you have to look up to or work with, but sometimes they help, and so it's like I have to adjust. So it's going fine so far.
But do you think the team has welcomed you with open arms in a sense? Do you think this is something of a close-knit family?
Yes.
Because I mean, at least from what I've seen with a lot of the sports teams here at IU East, it's more of a family. This is a small college. I mean, has that factored in a little bit to what you've been doing?
Well, I would say in high school, my team was a little closer, but it took time. So I feel like it's going to take time for me here as well. So.
For sure. And then finally, do you have any tips for athletes that have just come over from high school to college? They're freshmen trying to get involved in track or whatever athletic sport. Do you think there's anything you could pass on to those people?
Being a student athlete, like having classes and being the athlete, is not hard. You just have to put your mind to it. You have to be dedicated, because if you're not dedicated, then it's not going to work. You have to just put your mind to it. You don't want to put pressure on yourself, because putting pressure on when you get on that line, putting pressure on yourself, and you go through the finish line, you're gonna be like, what just happened? You just can't put pressure on yourself. You have to go out there. You have to have fun. Transitioning from high school to college, you just have to, have a better mindset. You have to be more mature. Like, you can't come to college and be immature, because it's not going to work out for you.
Well, thank you so much, Sheliece, for being on the show for the first time, and good luck with all the events coming up.
Thank you.
We have one more interviewee coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, welcome to the number 9 Grill.
Running a family-owned business requires teamwork. While I'm managing the floor,
I'm keeping an eye on the food and planning upcoming menu items so that
I can take care of the books and make sure everything's running smoothly.
being a family business means having each other's backs.
Which is why we're happy to have First Bank Richmond as part of our business family.
As people we know and trust, to be there when we need them.
And it doesn't hurt to be right across the street, too.
Our final athlete for this show is Kaveri Gillett. Kevaray, this is your first time on the show, so welcome.
Thank you.
So, because it's your first time on the show, just give me a quick synopsis of yourself. Where are you from? What did you do in high school? What got you interested in track? And the big one, why are you here at IU East?
Okay, first, I'm from Jamaica, but I moved when I was like 14 to New Jersey, and that's when I started doing track. Well, at first, I don't really know what got me doing it. It's just like my mom, like, you should try it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I would try it. And then my coach, he knows Coach Gus, so like since I was like pretty good at the hurdles and also a lot of different events, he just like, oh, you're a good athlete. I'm gonna try you out. You should come to IU East. And I'm like, yeah, I just need to like work on some of my time to like better myself and like, you know, put myself to like a better position to like go to college to do like better. So yeah, that's how I really got here, because my coach, my high school coach, which is East Orange in New Jersey, he knew Coach Gus, so it was like a better opportunity for me, because like he was like, yes, he's a good coach, he'd be there for you. So I'm like, yeah, good for me. So yeah, that's how I really got here.
And you mentioned you're from Jamaica.
Yes.
What are the sports like in Jamaica versus in the United States?
Well, since Jamaica is like, it's hot, like really hot, so it's just like maybe like climate-wise, it's just like Yeah, because I didn't really do track in Jamaica, so I can't really give you like in-depth like details about the difference in Jamaica and here. But yeah, maybe just the weather from like what I know of just by living there.
I mean, it's cold today, so
yeah, it's really cold.
Definitely a shock. But I mean, you've gotten the opportunity to do indoor so far this season. You'll have outdoor coming up soon. Do you prefer indoor or outdoor?
I don't want to be biased. I don't know. I'm not sure. Since like this is like my official indoor season, like I can't tell right now, but I got you next time.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. But you're part of the hurdles, the 60-meter hurdles.
Yes.
Tell me about some of the challenges that you have to face when you do this type of event.
Okay, first, my form, I have like a bad form, but I still try to make it. But like, so before like I start the race, like I don't really think much about it because I don't want to overthink and do something wrong. So I usually be like, okay, I do this at practice. Just like, let me focus on what I do at practice and perform it on the track. So basically I'll just be like, okay, so I know I have to like have a good form. So I have to like have fast arms through the race. So I just, like, I got this because I practice, so I know I'll probably do good, so I just do it. It's not, like, really a challenge. It's just, like, since I already know the basic stuff, so all I have to do is perform it and not be nervous, because when you're nervous, you overthink and you just do it. So I just do my best.
You mentioned your technique is bad.
Yes.
But what is really the proper technique to go through hurdling?
Well, your trail leg got to be fast along with your lead leg, and my lead leg is so slow. But, like, I'm working on it. Like, I'm working on it before I go to nationals. I'm going to be great, I promise. And you just have to, like, obviously got to stay in your lane to go over the hurdles, and you just got to be fast over the hurdles. And since my trail leg is a little slow, that's kind of like a difficulty for me. And that's something I am working on, and I'm willing to work on to make myself better at the hurdles.
Yeah, so let's talk about nationals coming up. You and Sheliece will be the first ever women to compete for IU East in nationals. What's that feeling like?
I mean, it's an amazing feeling. It's like, wow, like that's just the impact on us, you know. Like we put us out there, so that's a good thing. That's really amazing.
And how do you predict this upcoming nationals to go? I mean, this is the first time women have competed for IU East for it, but do you have any goals going into it?
Yes, definitely. Since I PR'd at my last meet, I'm trying to go like under 9 seconds. It is not impossible. I know I could do it. Like, I have the potential to do it. So that's just my goal. Maybe like a 8:94. Yeah, that's just my goals and stuff.
And what is the qualifying time for hurdles?
It is not. Well, the B standard is under 15 seconds, and the A standard is like 9 flat and under 9. So I'm trying to maybe when I go to nationals and run with the fast people, I could at least stay with them and just blow it, just like do my very, very best.
And finally, as a sophomore, as somebody who has moved from a different country to come to the U.S., do you have any tips for athletes that are just looking to find a home with an athlete or within athletics or within a college like this?
Well, one thing I could say is just trust the process, because like if you don't trust the process, then you're not gonna do as good as you want to do. So just like do your trainings, trust your coach, do what he says to do, don't overthink, just do it, because you could do it. Everyone could do it if they can, you know. Can do all things through Christ that strengthens thee. That's my quote before my race. I always say that before I run. So yeah.
And I'm sure too, training isn't super easy, or racing isn't either. But
no, it's not. You just gotta do it. You know, you gotta make yourself do it. You gotta just like put yourself in a position like, if other athlete could do it, I can do it. So like, you just gotta trust yourself and the coach.
Well, thank you so much, Kevaray, for being on the show for the first time, and good luck coming up with both that first nationals meet indoors, but also Myrtle Beach as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
This has been another episode of Inside IUE Sports. We'll have more episodes next week. Take care.